Welcome to Real Bible Talk. I'm Shad. I read a statistic the other day that kind of shocked me. Did you know on average, every adult person every day makes around 35,000 decisions? It actually says somewhere between 25 and 35,000 decisions a day. It also went to say that we spend 2 hours a day deliberating over decisions, and the majority of the decisions are made intuitively, relying on gut feelings rather than logical reasoning. Did you hear that? So I got to thinking about it. 35,000 decisions a day on average. I'm like, good Lord, there's no way I can make that many decisions a day. But when you really go to thinking about it, what to eat, what to wear, where to go, whether to answer a call, not answer a call, whether to send a text back, it probably does add up to quite a bit. That was mind-boggling. And I got to thinking about it. You know that you and I both are where we are because of a choice we made or a decision that we made. Now let me clarify something. I know there's things that happens in life that we have no control over, and we didn't choose for certain things to happen. But in reasoning, we are truly where we are right now as a result of a choice that we made. To make that many decisions a day, to make a decision means I had to have a choice. Have to choose between this or this. There's a choice to be made. It's called making a decision. But you think about it. What do I mean by I am where I am because of a choice? You're married to who you're married to because you chose to marry him. You work where you work because you chose to work there. Nobody forced you. Nobody made you. We choose what to eat, what to drink, what to wear, what to say. We choose good and bad. Now, back to what I was talking about. We are where we are because of choice we made. I don't know about you, but I've made some pretty dumb choices, made some pretty dumb decisions in my life. And there is a law that God has put in place called the law of sowing and reaping. You reap what you sow. So a lot of times we are truly where we're at because of a choice we made. Whether we're on probation with the law, we made a choice to break the law. So now we're on probation, or maybe have spent time in jail because of a dumb choice that we made. Now, if you like I was, I've made some pretty dumb ones in my lifetime, but we try to tend to look who to blame. Well, here's the deal. I was an alcoholic. I've shared that in other videos. I was blaming everything else and all my surroundings of why I used that word, chose to drink. Nobody was forcing me to do it. I was choosing to pour it down my throat. So it was a deliberate choice I was making, but I was trying to put the blame on everything and everybody else. Yes, my circumstances were rough and tough, and we're going through a lot of things in those days, but I was still choosing to do what I did. So welcome to Real Bible Talk. What does the Bible say about choices? Well, believe it or not, the Bible really does cover just about any topic that you can imagine. And I want to share that with you today. In Deuteronomy chapter 30, I want you to follow along and listen. In Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 15 through 20, it says this, and this is God speaking to the children of Israel. He says, now listen. I like that. He got my attention. He said, now listen, today I'm giving you a choice between life and death, between prosperity and disaster. I'm going to stop right there for just a second. He said, now listen, I am giving you a choice between life and death. We have a choice. So is it safe to say God was pro-choice? We all have a free will. To be pro-choice means you got the right to choose whatever you desire to choose. So in reality, yeah, we have a choice. God created us with a free will. He's not going to go against our free will. We're not some kind of pre-programmed robot that just does everything that God says to do and don't do that everything God says not to do. He has given us the power to choose. And according to this scripture, he says, today I have set before you life and death, a choice. You can choose between life and death. Verse 16, for I command you this day to love the Lord your God and to keep his commands, decrees, and regulations by walking in his ways. If you do this, you will live and multiply. And the Lord your God will bless you and the land you are about to enter and occupy. But if your heart turns away and you refuse to listen, and if you are drawn away to serve and worship other gods, then I warn you now that you will certainly be destroyed. You will not live a long, good life in the land you are crossing the Jordan to occupy. Today, I have given you the choice between life and death, blessings and curses. Now I call on heaven and earth to witness the choices you make. Oh, that you would choose life. Oh, that you would choose life so that you and your descendants might live. You can make this choice by loving the Lord your God, obeying him, and committing yourself firmly to him. This is the key to your life. And if you love and obey the Lord, you will live long in the land. And the Lord swore to give your ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now what a promise. What was God saying right here? He has set before us life and death, blessings and cursings. He even tells us, look, please choose life, choose the blessings. But he gave a requirement. We had to serve him wholeheartedly and not turn away from him and serve other gods. God's a jealous God, so anything we put before him is idolatry. He loves us and he wants us out of our free will to love him back. It's his love that's not in the question, it's our love for him. But he has given us the ability to make choices. The choice is ours between life and death. Now what does that mean? The law of sowing and reaping, God put that in place. There's nothing I can do to change that. There's nothing you can do about it. It's like the law of gravity. I can climb up on a 20-story building and jump off and say the whole time I'm free falling down to the ground, I don't believe in gravity. Well, guess what? Whether I believe in it or not, when I hit the ground, splat, the law of gravity took place whether I chose to believe it or not. And that's just like the law of sowing and reaping. We have the power to choose between life and death, good and evil. God's not making us do it. And the devil, I've heard this a million times, well, the devil made me do it. No, the devil is not making you do nothing. God's not making you do nothing. God has given us the choice. Now the devil may be in your ear trying to talk you into it, but in reality, it is you, it is I that make the choices that we make. Now that study of the statistic I shared, it says the majority of decisions are made intuitively, relying on gut feelings rather than logical reasoning. A lot of times, I've given this advice. People have told me this, well, listen to your gut. Well, that can be a good thing and that can be a bad thing. If you're listening to the right voice within your gut, I like to more call it like this, your conscience. Your conscience will tell you what's right and what's wrong. But God has given us the free will and the power to choose between good and evil, right and wrong. So what I said a few minutes ago, we are where we are as a result of our choices. What do you mean? Well, here's the thing. I was overweight for a long time. My blood work was out of whack. Levels were off because I was choosing to eat unhealthy. I was eating the wrong stuff and too much of the wrong stuff, too much sugar, too much carbs and all that. I was 40-something pounds overweight. I was choosing to eat the way I was eating. So what was the result of it? I was unhealthy and I was overweight. I didn't feel good. I didn't sleep good. I hurt all over. But then one day I thought, you know what? I have to change. I have to change it. So I made a good choice that day that I was going to make changes in my life and I was going to change the way I eat. And by just doing that, the weight come off. And now when I go to the doctor and have my blood work done, my blood's back to normal. My blood work's back to normal. Cholesterol is normal. Blood pressure is normal. I was making bad choices, and the results of those choices were evident. I was overweight, and my blood work was out of whack. We have choices that we have to make every day, whether we're consciously making them, and sometimes we just make them out of reaction or response. But here's the thing. God has given us the power to choose. And he encouraged us. What he said, oh, that you would choose life. It's God's will and God's desire that we make the right choices, the right decisions. We are where we are because of choices. If we're overweight, it's because we chose to be overweight. We can say, well, it's in the genetics. That may be true. But if you'll take time to stop and look where you're at, there's changes that you can make to help that. If there's an addiction problem, to whether it be food, alcohol, drugs, pornography, or whatever, you go back and look. You are where you are because you're choosing to be where you're at. Well, I don't have no choice. Yes, you do. You absolutely sure do. You can make up your mind today, I am about to do what God said. I'm going to choose life. I'm going to choose prosperity. I'm going to choose the blessings because what I've been choosing, I'm reaping what I'm sowing, and my life is all messed up because of my bad choices. So whatever it is, we make better choices, we get better results. God put this in place. And I like what Joshua said in Joshua 24:14-15. It says, so fear the Lord and serve him wholeheartedly. You see where your relationship with God is going to have an impact on your choices. Now listen to what Joshua says. So fear the Lord and serve him wholeheartedly. Put away forever the idols your ancestors worshiped when they lived beyond the Euphrates River in Egypt. Serve the Lord alone. But if you refuse to serve the Lord, then choose today whom you will serve. In other words, make a choice. Don't straddle the fence. Are you going to serve God or are you going to serve the false fake gods that your ancestors served? So he's telling us, choose today who you're going to serve. Would you prefer the gods of your ancestors served beyond the Euphrates, or will it be the gods of the Amorites in whose land you now live? But as far as me and my house, we will serve the Lord. That was a choice, a decision that Joshua had made. Regardless of what y'all choose to do, you know what? As far as me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord. That's a choice that he made, and that choice that he was sticking with. So think about it. We are where we are because of choices that we have made. If we don't like where we are, let's make better choices. But the main part, what was God telling us through all this? He's given us the choice. He's encouraging us to make the right choice, but he wants us to serve him wholeheartedly and to serve him and him alone. Because here's the deal. We choose heaven or we choose hell. God's not sending anybody to hell. We send ourselves there. God gets the blame for a lot of things that God had absolutely nothing to do with. There's a lot of bad things that happens in this world. And maybe bad things have happened to you and it wasn't a result of your choice, but it was the result of somebody else's bad choice. That happens. The choices that we make today can have a huge impact, not on just our lives, but everybody around us. And I'll give you for one example. If you choose to go to the bar and get drunk, and you choose to get behind the wheel, and you choose to drive yourself home under the influence, and you run into somebody and you kill somebody because you're under the influence, you made a bad choice, and now somebody else is having to deal with your bad choice. It all could have been prevented by making different choices. That's the power that we have with choosing what we do. And God's given us that freedom. And here in 2024 is about to be at an end, and we're fixing to enter in 2025. You can see all the quote pro-choices out there. Yes, we all have a choice, but people are choosing to do things that goes way against God and His Word and His will. And we wonder why this world is in the shape that it's in. It's because of bad choices. People are making bad choices. How do we make the world a better place? By you and I, starting with ourselves, making better choices with us. Like Joshua said, as far as me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord. I don't care what everybody else is doing. I don't care what everybody else is saying. As far as me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord. I hope this encourages you. I want to encourage you to stop and think about the decision and choices that you are making on a daily basis. If you're making bad choices, guess what? Change it. If you need help, pray to God. He will give you the help that you need. Life can be a lot better by the choices we make. Love you and God bless you. See you here next time.